Bro, the SA champions know how to rob people. They from South Africa. It happens on a daily over here. Robbery is what we see, robbery is what we live, robbery is what we do. Hey guys, welcome back to Strikes and Strangles. This morning we watched UFC star Dricus du Plessis claim middleweight gold. He's now the middleweight champion, the first one to ever do it from South Africa, the first one to ever do it from Africa. And yeah, we're going to just chat about it and give you our thoughts on what went down. So obviously, Calvin, two big days for MMA South Africa. On Saturday morning, we had Mark Hume fighting, which we were up early for watching, and then rinse and repeat on Sunday morning watching Dricus du Plessis. Did you just watch the main card, or sorry, the main event? Did you watch the whole card? What were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, so just touching on that crazy weekend, obviously starting with Mark on Saturday morning. I don't know about you, but I also ended up watching Tumelo Manimala and Vince Bembe fight as well at UAE Warriors. And then again this morning for Dricus, and to answer your question, I did watch the full main card. I watched two fights in the prelims and then the full main card. A little bit annoyed about that because that's 2 mornings in a row that I've been up at 4 o'clock. But it is what it is. That's what we do for South African MMA.
Yeah, I think especially when it comes to UFC, the time zones really it does mess with us, but when your boys out there representing you, you have to be up and watching. And there were a lot of watch parties. It was very cool to actually see the UFC bring some of the watch parties into their footage before the fight and then after the fight when Dricus won. That watch party was in Pretoria by the Goat Shed. And seeing other fighters there like Zulu Boy and Diego Bandu supporting Dricus was very, very cool. Another cool thing, which I don't know if you know, but Stefan De La Rey was one of the Afrikaans commentators on Supersport.
Oh wow,
And
that's sick.
yeah, that was very cool. And then also Supersport having the Corsa commentary. I've seen a couple of clips of that. It just sounds absolutely amazing. I wish I understood what they were saying, but you don't need to understand what it means to South Africa with Dricus's hand being raised at the end. Another cool thing, which was nice, is obviously Mark Hume having that very dominant win over Zachary Powell on Saturday. Mark Hume was translating Coach Mornay's in between rounds advice, so that was pretty cool. If you didn't know who that was, to me it sounded like Mark. If it wasn't Mark, please tell us who it was. Um, so yeah, that was
Yeah,
what a
no,
weekend, eh?
yeah, good weekend. Obviously, we did breakdowns on how we thought the fights would go, and we were quite wrong. They didn't
Could
go
we be more
quite.
wrong?
Bro, we got the dubs regardless. With Mark ones, you got to give credit to Powell. He came out a lot stronger than his previous outings and showed vast improvement. So he's got quite an exciting career ahead of him. Mark obviously getting the decision, not quite what he wanted, but it's a win regardless against um, a
Strong prospect.
yeah, a very
Yeah.
strong prospect. In front of Dana. So we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully he gets a contract, but otherwise, hopefully we'll see him on the fighter, the Ultimate
Yeah.
Fighter instead. Future's quite bright for him. So yeah, quite happy with that. And then Dricus getting a decision win in a 5 rounder.
A
Who
split
would have called
decision.
that split decision? Imagine. I'd like to go back and check the odds on that. Whoever bet on that, absolutely insane how much money he
Yes.
would have made.
So I actually know there's some of the odds because I was looking at the bets. Well, at least in the odds in South Africa, but for the fight to go for Dricus to win the fight via decision, it was like 19. So
That's
if
pretty
you had placed the
huge.
bets on that, you could have made some good money, eh?
100%. It's absolutely
And
crazy.
maybe while we're speaking about betting, we had the Drake curse live up to its name. I
Oh my
think
gosh. I had
I
such a good
saw.
laugh when I saw that. I was like, okay, DDP's got this. No
Yeah,
problem.
I mean, Drake just dropping, I think it was $700,000 on Strickland to win.
Crazy.
If only someone in South Africa just told him what we know, like, hulle weet nie wat ons weet nie. He could have
Oh,
saved himself a lot of time.
100%. You convert that to Rand, that's what, like 13 million Rand. Crazy. Crazy.
Yeah.
Gone. Down the
Well,
toilet. Just like that.
yeah,
Sheesh.
Drake, next time you have a bet, just come and speak to us and just give us like a small cut, like a 1% or a 2%.
Yeah, we'll happily give you the insider views.
Yeah,
It's
man.
funny.
That's
Okay,
funny.
so let's just chat about the fight. What did you think of it? How were your nerves? That kind of thing.
So I think you touched on it a little bit off screen earlier. When we were watching Mark's fight, he had like an anaconda locked up in the first round, and my heart rate also skyrocketed to something like probably 140, 150 beats per minute, like we were really intense. But watching Dricus, there was a little bit of nerves coming out beforehand. Um, but through the fight, it was calm. Like, yeah, round one didn't really go his way. Round one, I would have given to Strickland, but from round two onwards, you just saw Drickers actually go in there, find his rhythm, start to impose his will a little bit, and yeah, I was comfortable all the way to the end.
Okay, sick. So similar for me. I mean, Mark's fights, I was like standing and pacing. My heart was going. Dricus's fight, none of that. None of that. It was quite interesting to see. He came out, he looked confident, he looked calm, he looked composed, and then yeah, he went out and did what he needed to do. If you did watch our breakdown previously, you would notice that Sean started strong with a jab. And that's when I started getting nervous. That first round, the 100% went to Sean. That jab is absolutely deadly. Um,
It's like a piston, just fires it, boom,
so,
fast.
and what's difficult about it is that's what he's going to do, but I mean, you don't know until you know. I mean, it's hard to replicate. Obviously, he's doing something quite different that's catching everybody off a little bit, but I think Drake has managed it well, especially going into the second. And as we said in our previous breakdown, the guy who's going backwards is going to be losing. So for me, when Drake started pushing him back in the second, I thought, okay, cool. He's got a really good chance. I thought the pressure was a little bit slower than he usually does, so I thought maybe he's a little bit tentative. But I mean, it's a big moment. You're fighting for the championship, so yeah. When did you feel that Dricus had the fight in the bag?
Yeah, well, sheesh, I thought Dricus had the fight in the bag. Oh, definitely after the fourth round, I had it at that stage 3-1 up, but it was clear to me from the second round. Dricus came back. He made adjustments. He started pushing Sean backwards. He started landing the bigger shots. A lot of the stats are saying, hey, no, Sean had more significant strikes, and he was robbed. But that's not how MMA works. Like, we'll have to go and look at what a significant strike is. Most of Sean's significant strikes was the jab.
Yeah,
Whereas
but
if you look at
yeah, sorry, just touching on that. I mean, obviously it's not just a jab because it was doing damage. But then you're looking at damage over time versus a harder damaging shot. Um, so those numbers do count. Are they skewed a little bit with the damage? Sure. I mean, I'd take an overhand left over a jab any single day, damage wise. I would score it more.
if the jab was as effective as people are saying, there would have been more cuts that would have been opened. It would have stopped Dricus from imposing his will a lot more. Um, Dricus coming in with those big shots, having Sean on his back foot, leaning back, trying to dodge it, and then setting up the body kicks and the head kicks and the leg kicks off of that. It
Mm.
it it really made Sean have to respect Dricus. Um, what I did like about this fight is they had the agreement before saying to the death, it's going to be a war. We're going to put it on for you, and that is actually what they did. Um, they stood there and they left it all out there. I know we said that yes, Dricus should have a KO TKO in round two or early round three, but I'm actually glad it went the distance because he was able to show that I do have a gas tank. I can stand with the best boxer in the UFC. No, not Max Holloway, who is the best boxer in the UFC. We're gonna have to get down to that in another video. Um, but Drickers was actually able to show that it's not just my power. I've got technique behind it. I may look a little bit clumsy at times or clunky at times, but there is method to the madness.
The difference for me was the end of the first where Dricus shot the takedown and got it. I think that made Sean respect the range a little bit more. And then those head kicks they were landing clean past the guard. So that was a highlight for me definitely. And then going into the third, as you've mentioned, Dricus started pushing Sean back. I mean that's what we like to see. I think a big moment for me was the beginning of the fourth. I think it's 30 seconds in, where Dricus lands a nice combo ending with the overhand right, which actually opens the cut on Sean's left eye. We do have a clip of that, so we're going to show it up now over. Just to disprove, because I saw that Sean was claiming it was a headbutt that opened his eye and the blood was bothering him.
Yeah, the fourth I think was dominant. It was Du Plessis. You know, the whole story about this was Dricus has never done championship rounds. Dricus doesn't have main event experience, but Dricus went in there in that first championship round and he put it on the champ. He told him, okay, you don't think I've got championship material? Yeah, let me show you what it is. And he just bought the fight to Strickland. And I think round 4 across the board, across media, is clearly Dricus. It's the most definitive round of the fight. Yes, Dricus opened up the cut. There were a couple of big shots. You started to see Sean's gas tank actually go down.
Yeah, and I think for me the fourth was after the fourth. I felt amazing. I was like, DDP's got this. He's won. All he has to do is make it through the fifth, and then the title's coming back to South Africa. So the fourth was definitely my favorite round. I got to relax quite a bit. I remember telling the people I was watching with, Dricus has won. This is crazy. Dricus has won. Dricus is going to be the middleweight champion. He just needs to make it through the fifth. And I think going into the fifth, you could actually see that. I mean, there was a bit of back and forth in the beginning, but Sean definitely had an urgency about him. He started throwing those right hands a little bit harder, taking more risks and getting into that brawler style that he likes to finish fights with, just to put a stamp on it. But yeah, for me, that was crazy. The fourth.
Yeah, a little too little, too late for Sean, especially in that fifth round. Yes, he did pick up the pace and put it on Dricus, but yeah, it's like if it was me, maybe I would have danced around the ring on the outside a little bit and just avoided the damage, because yeah, in my eyes, Dricus was definitely up. I know Dana said he had a 2-2 going into the fifth, and he gave the fifth to Strickland, and that's going to bring in the next part of it is the decision that came in. I was also very comfy, like, hey, we've got a new SA champion.
You know what we say. We always talk about this. Don't leave it in the hands of the judges. Show the urgency and get the finish. You never know what the judges are going to score. I mean, we've got the clip of the decision. We'll play that for you now.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 5 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for a decision. Sal Diamato scores the contest, 48-47, Strickland. Eric Cohen has it, 48-47, Du Plessis. And Derek Curley scores the contest, 48-47, for the winner by split decision, and new undisputed UFC middleweight champion of the world, Dricus du Plessis.
But as you can see, you never know how judges are going to score. I remember when they were announcing the fights and announcing the judges, I saw Sal Diamato and I started stressing. I was like, oh, fuck, no, man. Oh, this is going to be a shit one. I don't know if it's just something personally I have against Sal. But what I did do is I went and checked his stats after the fight and just checked. So since 2022, Sal Diamato has been on the wrong side of 16 split decisions. It's pretty hectic. And then on top of that, including today's fight, Sean Strickland has been in 3 of them, 1 for him and now 2 against him. So every time I see Sal, I start stressing. I'm like, oh, we need to get a finish in this fight, because you never know how that guy's going to score a fight.
Yeah. Sorry, when you say now 1 for him and 2 against him.
Yeah. So if we chat about those fights just quickly, the fights that Sal was a judge on and scored in the splits was Sean against Jack Hermanson,
Okay.
and Sean against Jared Cannonier. So
Okay.
in the Hermanson fight, Sal scored it for Hermanson, and then in the Cannonier fight, he scored it for Strickland. But he was on the wrong side of both. And then obviously today he was on the wrong side. I don't know what round 3 he was watching, to be honest.
Yeah, let's talk about it being round 3. I mean, you mentioned something about Sean's corner, even saying something about round 3.
Yeah, definitely. So while we putting pressure on round 3 is we got the scorecard, which we're going to throw up here as well, so you can just see. So Sal scored it for Strickland, and the other 2 judges scored it for Dricus, rightly so. And then we've got a clip where DC is chatting about Dricus's improved cardio, which is playing in the background now. But if you listen to the end of the round, you hear Eric Nixon saying to Sean that he did not like that round at all.
And John, I mean, Drake has talked about his nose getting fixed.
Yeah.
His cardio looks fantastic.
It really does.
Could it really be just one thing like that?
No, it's not all that. He actually was somewhat dismissive of that as this overwhelming angle to his improved cardio, but he's 15 seconds away from realizing a 4th round for the first time as an MMA pro here in his 23rd pro fight. Looks pretty fresh here.
And these are very close rounds.
It did appear as though Strickland's pace waned in that 3rd round.
Oh, nice left hook there by Sean.
Hey, I don't like that round. You know what I mean?
So Sean Strickland's coach knows he lost the 3rd round, but for some reason Sal scored it for him. So I don't know what he saw. I mean, maybe that's why you have 3 judges, but I completely disagree with that. Completely.
Yeah. Could you imagine if this fight was a draw? That would have been insane.
Yeah. It would have sucked, because if it's a draw, the champion keeps the belt, and still. So thankfully, 2 judges were watching the correct fight. Sal, I don't know, man. I feel like he should not be in championship fights at all, especially. Definitely not.
Yeah. And so the other thing is, like, let's say it was a draw, which I don't think it was. I think Dricus definitely won the fight. It was not a robbery, and to all the Sean Strickland fans that are claiming it is a robbery, if it was, Dricus did what any South African would do and robbed.
100% pure daylight robbery, just like South Africa.
Let's go look at Henry Cejudo, Triple C, the greatest combat athlete of all time. He had a Dricus. If you go and look at Volkanovski, he had a Dricus. Mike Bisping, he had a Dricus. Go look at Mighty Mouse.
Yeah, and Dricus.
Arguably the GOAT, or is definitely in the discussion. Also had a Dricus. But anyway, that's just the opinion of
Professionals.
People who've done it, people who've been in the same level. I mean, Henry Cejudo, champion, double champion actually. Volkanovski, champion, dominant champion. Michael Bisping, champion. Maybe not so much dominant, but champion nonetheless. So it's very different. Mighty Mouse, multiple champion, like in different promotions as well.
I think just touching on that, I mean, as you guys were watching, you would have heard the commentary team. I think it was so cool to have Dominic Cruz in the commentary team. I really like his perspective on things. But you could hear from about halfway through the 3rd round, the guy started shifting and saying, "Flip, DDP's putting on the pressure. DDP's showing us what's up." And you know, those commentators, I rate they could be judges. They're pretty spot on. So when they start swinging with the momentum of the fight and saying which fight is the lead, I mean, you can't not argue with it. You're watching the same thing. You might have bias, but this is their job. They do it for a living. So yeah, for me that was a big swing as well.
And speaking of the swing, when you looked at the fight week, I mean, Canada was booing Dricus all fight week. When you looked at the fight when they came out, Canada again booing Dricus.
Yeah, and then slowly
shouting praises for Strickland, and then you started to hear the DDP. Like, the momentum swing is when you're there live, it's tangible. The crowd knows who's winning, and the fighters can hear the chants, and they can also feel the momentum shifting and see who's winning as well. But yeah, just to put this at rest, to say it's a robbery, it's definitely not a robbery. Just because the guy you supporting lost doesn't mean he got robbed.
Look,
Honestly, even if Strickland had won, we would have said congrats Strickland. We're the
100% we
biggest
would have done
DDP
it.
fans,
Oh, we love
but
Strickland.
still,
We love Strickland. We love what he stands for. We love the way he speaks. We love how authentic he is. So yeah, 100%. This is not sour grapes. But just touching on that, one thing that I thought was very, very interesting about this card is all the underdogs won. How crazy is that? All the underdogs won.
just speaking of that, I don't know if you placed any bets, but I had a parlay on which unfortunately Mr. Katona did not do it for me, but I had Pennington, I had Neil Magny, I had Dricus. I had another one which also didn't do it. The guy who fought Chris Curtis, I had Chris Curtis winning, but Neil Magny, man,
What a
that
fight.
guy
That
was
was
stressing
crazy.
me out.
Bro, I'm like watching that fight, and that one I had particular interest on, just for a few things. We're not going to mention that, but I was so bummed. Like halfway through the third, I was like, oh, "Come on, dude! I need you to win, bro! I need you to win!" And I gave it up. I was like, "Damn, he lost! Damn, he lost!" A minute to go, gets the reversal and the TKO. How insane was that?
Yeah.
That was
So
crazy.
how's that? And I don't know if it was 0-6 for the male Canadian fighters or if it was 0-7
Yeah, it was huge.
for the weekend. But even the MMA guru said he is never, ever, ever
Betting
again
on
betting on a
oh,
Canadian male fighter. Um,
no man, no man.
yeah, you know what it is I think we're so patriotic towards the country, and it's the same like with the Springboks. You support the Springboks, bro. You're South African. It doesn't matter your background, your past, where you're from. You support the Springboks, and then we have those nasty people that want to support the All Blacks just to irk us. I mean, even leading up to this fight, we won't mention who, but man, your South African boy is about to go and make history, and you want to post that you're backing Strickland. If you're South African, support South Africans, and if you don't, just don't publicize it. Keep it to yourself. You can have the last laugh afterwards if you want to, like we're having it now. We're loving it. That's one of my favorite things with DDP is, oh, when DDP fights Tavares, oh, you'll never get through him. DDP gets it done. When he fights Darren Till, oh, Till's too big, he'll never get through him. Gets it done. Then he fights Brunson. Oh, he'll never get through Brunson. Gets it done.
Crazy.
Then it's
Robert
Whittaker.
Whittaker.
Oh, he'll never get through Whittaker. Finishes Whittaker convincingly. And then again now, I think before the fight, I looked at UFC's polls and it was 71% in favor of Strickland. Oh, DDP's clumsy. He'll never get it done. He's got it done again. Like,
Yeah.
his superpower or his X factor, we said was power, and we thought that would be the difference. His X factor is the man knows how to win. He knows what it takes to get it done.
Yeah, definitely. I also saw somewhere on social media that scraping through just like the Springboks. Springboks won those last 3 matches by 1 point. Dricus gets a split decision. Crazy
Yeah.
tight. I mean, these athletes know how to keep us in suspense.
Bro, the SA champions know how to rob people. They're from South Africa. It happens on a daily over here. Robbery is what we see. Robbery is what we live. Robbery is what we do. Yeah, man. So also leading up to the fight, we had on Supersport, for those of you guys who are on South African, Supersport is our
Main
our
sports
broadcasting. Dana actually came on and was like, catch the fights on Supersport. But before he said that, he said, if Dricus du Plessis wins, it's a no-brainer. We go to South Africa. So the excitement that we have in South Africa right now about the UFC possibly coming here this year is
So
absolutely insane.
DDP mentioned it in the lead up to it as well. He said the UFC doesn't understand sports fans, and they won't. until they've been to South Africa and seen how passionate we are about our sports. So, I mean, for us, that's a no-brainer. It's so sick that UFC is looking at definitely coming to South Africa.
But right now, I have to tell you, man, I'm really enjoying this. I would love. There was another guy who tried to take my shine. He lost his shine. Now I have your shine. You didn't get into the cage tonight, but Israel Adesanya, get your ass back in the UFC so we can settle the score. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the new middleweight champion of the world, Dricus du Plessis.
So where would you like to see that in South Africa, Joel?
Please, I want to see it in Pretoria. I want to see it in Dricus' hometown. There's a couple of venues that you can use there. If you're not going to be looking at Pretoria, we've got other options as well. We've got Cape Town is an amazing option. We've got, you know, even Carnival City. I don't know if that's going to be big enough. I think it probably would. And then another option, which probably won't happen, but if you wanted to make a worthwhile trip for the fighters and the coaches and any fans that will be traveling, Sun City is an option. That would be absolutely amazing. I don't think you'd be able to beat that vibe anywhere else in the world.
I don't think so either. I think it would be sick. Personally, I mean, we reside in Joburg, so it's nice and close to Pretoria, but I think Cape Town would be flippin' sick, and I would not miss that. I'd make sure that I'm there, definitely.
Yeah.
So obviously MMA is now just about to explode in South Africa.
So if you want to get started, we've made a video which you can see right over here, which will take you through the top 5 gyms in South Africa. And if the gyms are not anywhere near you, just give us a DM, comment on our video, and we'll give you a couple of options where you can start training. And we can't wait to see you in the cage.